and welcome to a special Valentine's Day edition of the Oddity Archive. The show that's so romantic, it'll make you puke. And indeed, we are so romantic that we will fall in love today. Or at least lust. Of course, I personally am thoroughly incapable of making such things happen on my own, so I guess it's a good thing that it's VHS Vault Day. Now, today's first video comes to us by way of the same people that brought us When Mom and Dad Break Up. How's that for a good thematic tie-in? And we covered that one already back on the Divorce VHS Vault episode, which is currently banned from YouTube. Hit up archive.org for that one if you're so inclined. But anyway, today's first tape is How Can I Tell If I'm Really in Love? From 1986, which tackles the issue of teenage intimacy. And of course, who better to teach us about this subject than the Bateman siblings and Ted Sam Malone Danson. You know, TV's most famous womanizing bartender. And yes, I am well aware that this is a Betamax tape, but look at it this way. This title is far more common on VHS. It just so happens that my copy is on beta. The quality is interchangeable. And yes, I'm also well aware that the vast majority of my audience is well beyond their teen years. So let's just take this as an opportunity to take a scholarly look back at how the teens of the mid-80s were doing it. Handling it. Making it. You know what I mean. Perverts.
Attention brides and grooms, save money, save money, save money. Let Uncle Charlie videotape your wedding day. After all, you haven't skimped anywhere else. Save a few bucks on something you'll watch every year. Uncle Charlie will work for free, and he's worth every penny. Just think of these moments you'll treasure forever. The lovely and memorable taking of the vows, just like those silent movies you love so well. It's a ceremony you'll remember thanks to Uncle Charlie's steady hand and state-of-the-art camera. He covers the crowd in one graceful motion, and he's even got autofocus. So relax. Why worry about extra batteries, a tripod, or even lighting because Uncle Charlie loves to shoot in the dark. So remember, Uncle Charlie will save you a few bucks and give you a memory you'll never forget.
So boys, you couldn't keep it in your pants, and now you're on the receiving end of a shotgun wedding. Well, fear not. Crazy Uncle Benny's got just the tape for you. Or more accurately, your fiancé. Sorry, guys. So, we're actually going to jump a little farther back in time for this next tape. This time we're going to head back to 1985. And we're going to take a look at How to Plan Your Wedding, which comes to us by way of the rather infamous Scimitar video. And yes, I have every intention of giving you the lowdown on Scimitar someday, but I couldn't not include this tape in today's episode. So the history lesson's just going to have to wait. But in short, Scimitar was 1/3 public domain crap house, 1/3 budget reissue label, and then the infamous part, 1/3 newly created content crap house. And a lot of their titles were kind of out there. This is actually very much on the more sane end of their releases, and I think this is one of their first. But Scimitar Video was based out of Bloomington, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis. And I only bring this up because most, if not all, the people that appear in this tape are locals, seemingly born and bred. So be ready for a good dose of that upper Midwestern accent. You hear that, Belarus? You're not off the hook. Scimitar, home of such classics as Roswell and the Alien Autopsy, Vampires, and How to Have Cybersex on the Internet. Hey, I was enjoying that. Wedding Information Services presents Mexican Divorces, Made Even Easier. I have never seen this woman before in my life.
This videotape will help you learn how to plan the various aspects of your wedding.
But first, the latest from Huey Lewis in the News.
Designed to acquaint you with terminology used by retail businesses that serve the bridal industry.
Terminology like nest egg hatching, upsell, and fourth time's the charm.
Plus, later in this tape, you'll see a presentation of the latest bridal fashions ranging from the simple to the elegant designer.
Hell, if you're willing to pay enough, the designer will sit in for you at the ceremony.
Different factors that influence the price of a diamond.
There are many ways that the tuxedos can be coordinated with the colors used within the bridal party.
Special ordering means
Looks like the technology wasn't quite there yet for a timely freeze frame.
The style of wedding party that you've planned will affect the types of flowers that you choose.
Isn't that what we have all-purpose flour for?
And it has come to a state of the art now where it's practically indistinguishable from something that was copper plate engraved.
So the important thing to remember is as soon as you have set your date to start looking for your photographer.
The Neon Rogues Gallery.
Congratulations on your engagement. It's time to start planning your ceremony and reception details. As soon as possible, you should set the date of your wedding and reserve the location of your ceremony and reception.
McDonald's Play Place it is.
What you can spend and who will pay for what. Then, order your engagement and wedding rings.
It better be one that respects my box.
A couple should reserve their photographer as soon as they have set the date for their wedding. It's very important to reserve that photographer right away because it is not uncommon that even a year ahead of time for a specific date, that photographer could already be booked.
Book Pacific photographer 18 months in advance. Got it.
You want to invite to your own wedding. There are a lot of photographers out there with many different packages and prices. To select that photographer, you'll need to know the price range that you want to work with. You'll find some photographers...
He was picking his nose, hence the cutaway.
Very expensive, ranging into the thousands of dollars. You're paying for, one, their experience, two, their style, and you're also paying for overhead. And a lot of them will have very fancy studios, and there's nothing wrong with that. You need to select that photographer on the budget that you have.
Sears Kids Portrait Studio it is.
Cost you thousands of dollars, that's fine. But if you are limited to a few $100s, then you'll have to be more selective. And there are other places that you can look for photographers, such as...
I guess I can call Uncle Charlie.
College newspapers. Freelance photographers are not a bad investment. The main thing that you must understand is that how many weddings have they done in the past? Do you like their work?
And how many drinks can he take before he passes out?
Your reorder. I would recommend that the wedding photographs be taken before the ceremony.
Including the one of the bride and groom, even though he's not supposed to see her before she walks down the aisle.
Tuxes are pressed, and you're going to get very good and sharp photographs. If you wait until after the ceremony, you now have dresses that have been crumpled, you have flowers that might have started to wilt, you have mothers who have been crying, you have brides who have been crying.
Yeah, fathers who have been crying over the sudden demise of their savings accounts.
Is how long does it take to get the photographs back? Some photographers will have them back to you within 1 or 2 weeks. Other photographers will take as long as 90 days.
These are usually the ones that try and drink the developing chemicals.
You've gotten your proofs back, and you are ready to reorder. Normally what you can look for the studio is at least 5 days for each size photograph that you have ordered. That means if you have ordered a 4x5, that is going to take at least 5 days. If you also have an 8x10 in there, that will be another 5 days, and so on.
Processing by photomat it is.
It's getting closer, and there is still a lot to do.
You know, if I ever get married, remind me to provide my own reception music. With my voice and my penchant for guitar noise, I can clear the room and save a ton in food costs in the process.
It is to arrange for a wedding gown.
And television failed again.
Gowns, you should keep in mind that average delivery is 8 to 16 weeks, so you'll want to order as far in advance as possible for the best selection.
Those silkworms are real divas.
Your gowns in the store and altered 1 to 2 months before your wedding so that you have less worry and fewer last-minute hassles. If you are short of time for
I think the old Quantel paint box had a stroke.
in the 8-week delivery time, and most bridal shops carry a few gowns that they'll sell right out of stock so that you can take them home with you that day.
Hope you don't mind the mothball smell.
Start at $100 and go up to thousands of dollars, but I would say the average bride pays between $250 to $500 for a gown. Bridesmaids' gowns run from $60 on up to $300, and the average bridesmaid pays between $75 to $125. Mothers' gowns are becoming more and more important, and I think that's because mothers today don't want to be just kept in the background. They range in price from $75 up to hundreds of dollars. And
Before the Bridezilla, there was the Momzilla. Come to think of it, things were a lot cheaper before the Bridezilla. Maybe it's time to bring back the Momzilla.
with the balance due after the gown comes in. Because gowns are ordered to size and not custom made, alterations in most stores are extra.
Like an old car, it'll nickel and dime you to death.
Special bonus for the bride-to-be, here are some of the latest wedding gown fashions.
Of course, Scimitar would disguise a video catalog as an instructional video.
Gown number 1 is an elegant look by Barcelona in ivory taffeta.
I hate taffeta. Gets stuck in my teeth.
Juliet sleeves. This contemporary beaded headpiece with just a poof of veiling at the back is perfect for showing off the alluring V-cut back of the gown.
A perfect showcase for all your birthmarks and pimples.
Skirt, bodice, and sleeves. The design of the Alençon lace is re-embroidered to give it a three-dimensional look.
Just in case the bride is a cardboard cutout.
Both by Angelo complement each other with a chantilly lace ruffle at
50s rock and roll and potato chips. Together at last.
line, and the white chiffonette wedding gown has a high stand-up collar and Gibson girl sleeves.
And a razor hat that can be used to decapitate any unruly wedding guests.
Gown number 12, a white satin by Ginza, has a gorgeous cathedral-length attached train.
Perfect to get caught in a car door.
Gown's train and skirt. Satin Venice lace trims the top of the gown, which consists of a high stand-up collar, Juliet sleeves, and a basque waist. You might choose a beaded Juliet cap to wear with this gown, as is shown here.
Or a mangled lace doily. We're not sure.
This pink raw silk gown by Priscilla is number 13. Alençon lace and beading trim the bodice and short puff sleeves, which can be worn on or off the shoulder.
The gloves are perfect for the bride who isn't too sure about that whole ring thing.
The matching headpiece, also by Priscilla, is accented with a pink raw silk bow at the back.
Where it belongs. It's kind of profane.
Wide brim hat of eyelet lace, which
Why, red.
is number 15. The gown is a cotton voile by Bridalure and shows its southern influence with an open neckline and short puff sleeves.
Perfect for any Reconstruction era themed weddings.
In choosing a headpiece, you should consider the style of your gown, the type of wedding you're having, and your hairstyle. Find one that's flattering for you. I think a big help in choosing a headpiece is a good trained wedding consultant who can tell you what looks right with your face and your gown.
For example, this headpiece is perfect for any rabid flock of seagulls or Thompson Twins fan.
Quarter-length sleeves. The waist, a sheer dropped waistline, is something new. Gown number 16 by Hamburger is a T-length.
And a quarter pounder. Hey Larry, did you remember to lock down the tripod?
A sparkling rhinestone and beaded headpiece for the sophisticated bride highlights gown number 20, a white silk
And suddenly the NFL gets super jealous of those shoulder pads.
gown sleeves. The dangling beads on the sleeves are a fresh accent for this gown.
And if you weren't paying attention, you missed it.
Is shown again in bridesmaid gown number 24, a black and cerise silk taffeta by Saks.
Glad garbage sacks, to be
The
exact.
gown is sleeveless with
Did this woman just get demoted to bridesmaid?
a large bow, an especially popular look today.
Drawstring, no less.
A black beaded bag completes the fun look.
And makes for a handy place to keep your car keys for when the bride goes psycho about the napkins at the reception.
7 by Piccioni. This white satin gown features a stunning one-shouldered look.
Read they didn't finish the dress in time for the shoot.
Piece is a wreath of satin Venice lace.
Or a random fire extinguisher foam sculpture. Couldn't just take a still shot, could we?
Gown number 28 is the matching blue taffeta bridesmaid. A bow on one shoulder adds interest to this T-length gown.
The great irony is this was the bride's best effort at not getting upstaged by the bridesmaids. She should have gone with the trash bag dress.
Detachable train in white charmeuse. The sheath style gown is by Yumi Katsura. Bows add sleeve interest to this wedding gown. The bridesmaid in blue.
I told you, Joan, I'd get back at you someday for the garbage bag dress. Oh, shut up.
Gown number 36 by Piccioni is in white taffeta. This gown is just the thing for a cold winter wedding, trimmed with Canadian fox fur at the cuffs and the neckline.
Of course, if you're a real upper Midwestern gal, you'll hunt and skin the fox yourself. The headpiece has got icicles.
The sweetheart necklines on gowns.
I can't believe you're having 2 ceremonies with separate outfits in different countries. I'm $5,000 in the hole because of you. Oh, shut up.
Is in a yellow jacquard.
Just had to make the poor guy do the music live, didn't you?
For information on specific gowns or for questions and comments on this tape, write Wedding Information Services,
Care of 1985.
Minneapolis, Minnesota 55402.
Don't you know?
Escape to video update. Escape to video update.
Damn it. For how slow the rest of this tape is, you'd think the jingle could last more than 10 seconds. Well, that's it for today's archive.
Yeah.
Join us next time when
Baby, you're driving me wild.
No, I'm not. I'm driving you home.
I think today's episode gave Ed some bad ideas.
What am I, a microwave oven?
A stepladder.
A stepladder?
I don't know. I'm in the dark.